Honestly, I wish I had someone that could have helped me throughout this journey, but unfortunately, I did not. And all these videos that I've looked into YouTube was not helpful at all. They all talked about passive income and shit, so I'm not really into that. I want to know how I can achieve going from a junior designer to, let's say, 40K salary. How do I go to 100K salary? That's what I needed to learn online. I didn't find anything that was quite useful, so I was like, hey, you know what? I think I should share this because this is based on my real life experience. The fact that I made these mistakes, I want to share those mistakes so you guys don't make it. I feel like I'm just like repeating myself, but yeah, so that's what my video is going to be about. Yeah, so how to make six-figure salary in your current field. So let's get started. Yeah, number one thing would be to actually love what you're doing. I started this when I was 10 years old. I was a web and graphic designer, and I also did programming and coding. Out of all that, I really enjoyed the web design part. Long story short, I am here now, and I'm extremely happy that I was able to flip my hobby into a career. Now, point number two, which falls right underneath, is that learn more. So for me, Web 3.0 is happening, so now I'll be able to learn it, adapt to it, expand my skill set in Web 3.0. From a UX UI designer to be a product designer, which focuses more into bringing in revenue by applying your UI UX design skill set. So that would sort of be your journey, because the moment when you stop learning, companies won't be interested in hiring you, at least the ones that pay really well and actually want you to grow, actually want you to succeed, and actually want you to challenge yourself. Those type of companies won't really hire you, but the ones that are extremely old school minded, you'll get those jobs, but they pay really low. Which comes to number three, and oh my god, I'm not a big fan of this, but it's something that you just need to do no matter what. Yeah, interview and presentation skill. By presentation, I mean able to present your portfolio when you're being interviewed, and by interview I mean able to comfortably, in a calm way, communicate to the interviewer. That's a lot of practice. It used to be one of my biggest weakness, but luckily one of my friends who dominates in this space was able to help me out. And the best way I actually did it is here. Let me show you. Actually, every time I would have my interview, I would open this right here. It's called the OBS Studio, like here. Here we go. Oh my god, let's go, focus. There we go, OBS Studio. So what this does is, essentially what OBS Studio does is that it will record anything you want. So it will record your entire screen and the audio plus video while you are being interviewed. You can't let the interviewer know that you're going to record this, but you don't need to know, like, you know what I mean? Because they will never know. However, at the same time, don't expose the interview on your LinkedIn or any other social media, because that's a bad part on your end. Once you finish recording it, just watch the video, take a notepad out, whatever works for you, and just jot down where you feel like you made a mistake. And also, if you have a friend who is very good in interviews, so send that video to your friend, or go on Google Hangout and share the video, and that way your friend can tell you like, oh, you did great here, but you really didn't do good here, you couldn't explain it properly here, and so on and so forth. That way, every single time when you're being interviewed, you'll be able to improve yourself and not make that same mistake over and over again. Because at the end of the day, when you don't get that job after going through 3 or 4 rounds in the same company for an interview, which is extremely exhausting, they will never tell you why they did not hire you. So it is really up to you to make sure that you do what you gotta do in order to improve in your interview skill set, not make the same mistake over and over again. I have worked with so many people in the last 13 years. Their work is literally 5 out of 10. I'm not even joking. They don't even know half the things in terms of design, but guess what? They know how to talk. And because of that, they're able to jump from one company to another, and they're sitting at 250K salary. In terms of presentation and interview skills, make sure that you have connections to recruiting agencies. In Canada, at least, there are like probably over 100 recruiting agencies by now that help designers, programmers, developers, graphic designers, help them get new jobs. Either they have because they have connections. Their clients are people who are looking to hire junior designers, intermediate designers, senior designers, and etc. Right? So go to LinkedIn, just type recruiting agencies or talent agencies. You know, you'll find in the search results, like, there are 1,000 of them. Last but not least, you need to make sure that your presence, your skill set, your portfolio is out there. And by there, I don't mean creating a Twitter account or Instagram account or Facebook account. Heavily focus in and only LinkedIn. Unless you want to be a creator like myself, then other platforms are very important. But if you're just here to work at one company to another and you want the recruiting agencies to find you, or even the HR from company X to find you, then I would highly recommend to work on your LinkedIn. And whatever you have in your resume, just copy paste that and put it into LinkedIn, and of course use keywords that companies are looking for. The best example would be to just find designers, either whichever companies that you really want to get into, like any of the FANG companies. Just scan through their resumes and find out what type of words that they're using and use those similar words for your resume. Do not fake it, and make sure you understand what you're saying in your resume, because you'll be asked in your interview. Most importantly, in LinkedIn, you know what, let me show you here. So this right here is my LinkedIn. This title right here, senior product designers. So when a recruiter or anyone is looking for a senior product designer in Toronto and they type this, there's a higher chance that they are going to find me. Having said that, make sure you use that same strategy when you are looking for a job. So if you're a junior UX UI designer, then just write that, junior UX UI designer. Or if you are a senior UI designer, then just write that, right? And that way you'll be easily found through LinkedIn. It's not like Google. It's not like someone. So thing is, in Google is people usually get off after the first page. Majority of them do. People don't go to page number 10. In LinkedIn, it's a whole other game, because HR companies, talent specialists in actual companies like Company X, or even recruiting agencies, they spend days and weeks and months looking for the next best thing. So they'll be in page 10, page 50, page 100, trying to interact with a designer that they have not yet. So don't worry about being in page number 45, because at the end of the day, you will be found. So trust me, don't worry about that. Okay, now after doing all of that, this final step is the grand finale. So make sure that you do not fall in love with one company, and that has been one of my biggest weakness ever. I tend to stay in a company for a long period of time. What happens when you fall in love with a company is that's the time when you start getting very low raises. So I was at a company for 7 years, and in the last 4 years I was taken full advantage of. Like literally 8 months ago, I left the company and I'm part of a startup. Great decision of my life. When I stayed at this company, another company like before where I'm at right now, the last 4 years they started taking advantage of me. I was literally doing jobs of 4 other employees, which took an extreme toll on my life, you know, mental health and all that stuff. So I should have done 4 years ago, I should have left, and I should have worked for either an advertising agency, a small business, mid-sized business, maybe a startup, and I could have hit my 6-figure salary probably in 2018 or 2019 instead of 2021. That's the mistake that I did, and I don't want you guys to make that same mistake. Therefore, don't fall in love with one company. It's great that you love the people there, you loved the project, the type of project that you're part of. That's great. But staying at one company, you know, 1 year later, they're not gonna be like, hey, since you're making $40,000 now, here's a $20,000 raise. That doesn't happen. At least not for me. It never happened to any of my colleagues or my friends. The best way to get that salary jump, say you work at company X for 1 year, update your resume, update your portfolio, start talking to recruiters again, and start looking for a new job. Working in company X for $40,000 per year, that's just a hypothetical number. When you apply for a new job, look for a $65,000 salary. That's the best way to jump, okay? So, and what happens after that is, say you work at company Z for $65,000 per year, you will meet new people, you will learn so many new things, and maybe you were designing on Adobe XD, and now in company Z, now you're using Figma. The company that I'm working for right now, last 8 months, I've been using Figma. Before that, I've been using Adobe XD, so now I just learned something new. After that, once you have completed 1 year, your salary is $65,000 per year, go back and start applying for jobs again. And in year 3, look for a job of $85,000 or maybe I'll probably say $82,000 to $85,000 per year. If you can do 85, that's great. If not, do 82. But in this case, let's just do 85. On your 4th year or 5th year, you should aim for $100,000 salary. That is right. And the best way to do this is to, once again, update everything you have, portfolio, LinkedIn, resume, all that good stuff. Go back to talking to recruiting agencies. But actually, at this point, you are going to start receiving a lot of DMs in LinkedIn, either through a talent specialist from an actual company or recruiting agencies. Whatever it may be, reply to all of them, tell them what you really want. Be very firm in terms of salary wise. If they can't afford it, be like, thank you so much for your time. But if they can, then go ahead, move forward. And that's pretty much it. That's it. Always keep moving, because that's the best way to learn. And that is how you hit a 6-figure salary under 5 years. Like, there's no secret. I made a mistake of staying at a company for 7 years. I should have left in 2018. I should have left after 2 years, whatever the case is. But I did not, and every time I would get a raise would be like 2%, 2%, 2%. So I'm not gonna make that mistake anymore. And therefore, don't make that same mistake. You know, make sure you're always learning, you love what you do, and you're always moving forward. So from one company to another. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.